Greetings, scale model podcasters. We have a treat for you here. Tony and I, we're both on the original batch of Moscato Hobby Models Dragon kit. The
Yes,
Dragon
sir.
is essentially an extension of the F-15 line. So this should be a lot of fun. The original run was something like 20, was it, Anthony?
I think it was 30.
30?
But,
Okay.
very limited.
And as of the moment we speak now, there's still a few left in the second run from this.
That's right.
Get them now.
Yeah.
I think this is only the second one I've gone from the start with Moscato.
It's my first.
Yeah.
It's my first.
It might be my first too. Anyway, here we go. I'm gonna show you the box.
Yeah.
As we open it. Let me adjust my camera here.
Okay, so dear listeners, this is Anthony here. And what we're talking about is the Dragon II. This is the F203B from Macross or Robotech, depending on your particular persuasion. And as Terry mentioned, this was a limited run resin kit. That's all resin you're looking at. And yeah, we were smart enough, lucky enough to get in on the first run of it. So it was not a insignificant sum of money, right, Terry?
No, it's not. But you know, in the days where a 48 scale fighter, single engine fighter, cost you $70,
yeah,
to me, this is not unusual. And this is garage stuff. This is one guy. So we're opening it up. Notice we've got very nicely packaged some fragile bits here, taped to the box top.
Yep.
Classic.
It's a very nice presentation.
Yeah. So he's bagged it off. In some pretty good shape here. Bagged off some more bits and a separately wrapped clear bits for your canopy. So let me put the box aside. Bring these out, and we'll go from there. I'll have this view, and Anthony has two views, and we're going to. Why don't we give you a size? I'm going to spotlight your camera here, so you can show off. Why don't you show how it looks versus the versus the Valkyrie itself to give you an idea.
Yeah, this kit is 1/72nd scale. So this is just a Hasegawa VF1 in 72nd scale. It's just at the primer stage. This was used for like a box top shot, but just to show you the size of the Dragon. So just the airframe we're looking at, that's almost right on top of each other. It's quite a large bird, and very reminiscent of the F-15, as Terry mentioned. And then just the cockpit, that might be the nose and cockpit might be kind of give you a good illustration of the size of this plane. I'm really excited about this. I kind of hummed and hawed. So just for everyone's reference, this kit was, I think I paid 225 Canadian as like an early sign up, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And I think so the second run is slightly more expensive. Here's the intakes kind of put together with the airframe. I haven't cleaned up anything, so there are some nubs and whatnot. Let me just get that all right there. Get sort of a rough idea of holding it together, but this is going to be fantastic. I'm really excited. I like I mentioned, I had some early hesitation, but I think it was well worth it. I think I was one of the last to sign on for the first run, and there's a second run as Terry mentioned, and that one's going to include a decal sheet.
Well, I actually I had Decals print my decals out.
Yeah, and I want to do the same thing. I saw that you did that. so what John has done, and I'm not sure if this is a common thing in the resin, and I've never gotten a kit without decals before, so maybe it's just the sort of the sign of the times with the expensive things. But John has provided, he designed decals and provides you an image. I think it's a JPEG, and you're
No,
creating your own.
yeah, it's not a JPEG. It is actually a vector file type, so it
Okay.
is scalable. It's the way you need to do it.
Okay. So that,
Here's I pulled these out that I printed.
yeah.
So Decals does have these, and I think these ones are a bit light. Let me spotlight mine now.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a bit soft, isn't it? Focus wise.
Oh, maybe a touch, but
I'm inside the minimum focus distance of my my
this is
camera
not something
here.
we usually do.
No, it's not. Okay, so professionalism right here, guys.
Oh yeah.
This is what
You know, I've never been hot and bothered about doing box reviews. There's certainly enough of them, but this is such a limited thing. And we were as soon as these kits rolled in, I think we were immediately gabbing about, you know, the excitement level of this thing. So, and you know, SMP has always been a big supporter of John's work. You know, we've seen other models of his come by, the Quaidland Rao that I did.
and vice versa. John has supported us as well.
Yeah, he was the, remember we had a big model contest a couple years ago where he was the main sponsor and provided the prizes. So we like to spotlight that, and just to show people the quality and the work, just the craftsmanship that goes into this type of thing. Like maybe you'll never see one, but it's a really cool kind of
Yeah. So Moscato's kits are all hand sculpted. They're not.
yeah.
He doesn't do a lot with the 3D printing and such.
I don't think he does.
I don't think he does it at all.
Yeah. So this is kind of the old school way, the way I was used to seeing it and doing it.
So let's see some features here. The wings do have hinge points on them, so you can raise them up, right?
Yeah, you can. So you can have like a
And pull them up. Yep. The secondary vents on his, maybe it's almost more like a MIG with these vents.
Oh yeah.
On top of the. I will admit that I don't have a whole lot of data about what this plane actually is, right?
Yeah, I mean, this was supposed to be a precursor to the
Yes.
variable fighter program, right? So
Yeah,
I think
to me it looks more like an F-15.
Yeah, I think it definitely has vibes of that, inspirations, and I know that didn't Roy Fokker fly one of these during the Unification Wars, like in the
Yeah. So if you pay attention to it, that you'll see early F-18s that were F-14s rather that were still flying and being used as test beds. And this is the same sort. And this was more of a frontline fighter. There are some things on here. I think there's a little bit of soft detail in the area behind the canopy here, and that's compromise on his point. Otherwise, he would have to have a separate piece here, cast the separate piece that would go in. So there's always compromises.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Any kit, and the missiles are one for him compromise as well. Why don't we switch back to Tony?
Yeah. I wanted to point out. I'm gonna put this right here. So you also, along with the decals, you have to print out your own instructions. So I think it's just a cost savings.
Yeah.
Like we said. Oh, here we go. He's a one-man show, right? So he's probably feeling the squeeze like everybody else. But so he provides this really neat configuration guide. So what I like about John is that he'll take a design that is rendered for animation. So it's lacking the realism, it's lacking the details. It's something that's just going to show up quickly, you know, animated on the cheap, not concerned about details.
And they don't always work.
Yeah.
You know, when you do it and then you start trying to make a physical model of something built out of anime, you may start noticing that not all the bits actually work together.
Oh, exactly. So And what do they call that? Animation magic, where
Yes.
things they transform in goofy ways that don't work. But John is really good at, I think, reconciling what a real life thing would be like compared to just an animation only inspiration or source material. So I remember during an interview with him, he talked about how he would look at the line drawings, he'd look at, you know, screenshots from the animation, and then maybe old kits, original kits that were produced from, you know, officially, and then try and figure out how to blend those together and then add real world you know, details using his knowledge of aircraft and you know, real world stuff of the time. So like, this is a really neat guide. It's the it's the configuration guide, so he's got it set up so you can see what it'd be like for parked power off, for a full loadout, a long range interceptor, an escort, and a patrol. So this is great. This is great stuff, right? You know, I've always wanted to, you know, inject some realism into my sci-fi building, and I love information like this where, you know, maybe I'm not really that up to date on it, but
Sure.
it's very cool. Yeah.
So I'm looking at the canopy here. Mine's a little compressed.
Mm-hmm. Let me pull mine out. So move this over here.
So yeah, this is such a fuzzy camera view. I don't know. I don't
This
know
is
why.
the old school.
Yeah, this canopy is actually a bit compressed. It doesn't actually fit here. It looks like it's been squeezed from the side. This is resin though.
Yeah.
It's actually very, very nice. It's super clear and very thin, which is probably part of the problem. Clear resin's a pain in the ass to work with. To
So we're
cast.
gonna have to
I may have to heat it up.
warm it up in warm
That
water.
might work. It may work if I warm it up and do that. I might make a buck to fit here and warm it up and put the buck in there and see if I can't get it to work. And if not, then I'll just vacuum form off the buck, or maybe ask John to throw him, and maybe get him to pop me another one. Or so he may have pulled it out of the mold too soon.
Yeah. Interestingly, mine kind of looks like it's a pretty close fit. That's gonna be.
Does it fit on the on the nose section pretty well?
Yeah.
All right.
Once we pull it off, and that's another factor of getting a resin kit too, where there is some, I guess you just call that warpage. Yeah, my back one I think is maybe has that issue. So and John mentions too about writing the instructions. He gives some explanation about shrinkage or warpage, and then how to fix that. So I would say this isn't an advanced builder's kit.
It is.
You don't want to start out with this, and certainly not that price tag either. But yeah, he's good about explaining those things. That's just part of dealing with a resin sort of limited piece, right?
Yeah.
So it's a very nice. It is a nice canopy. This thing hold it.
Yeah, it's nicely cast resin. I think clear takes forever to cast. Just saying that.
Yeah.
I'm looking, and some of his stuff in the past had a little bit of problems with cut molds. I can just barely see the seams on some of these. It won't be anywhere near as much of work as, say, like the cat's eye. So that was, but that was, when was that released? 15 years ago?
So I've recently been vacuum forming cat's eye canopies for members of Macross World very, very slowly. My apologies. And for myself, because I got a kit sort of secondhand and didn't have the bucks or the vac form canopy. So I did some research and invested in a vacuum form machine. And yeah, it did take a lot of work to make a one good set to go on there. And I guess the beauty of the vacuum form is that I can print out tons of them until I got it right, which is what I did.
Yeah,
trial and error.
So I would like maybe point out the missiles here, the ones on pre-mounted on the
I like
points on the pylons.
Let's look. I'll see if I can get those up on here and we can move it up a little bit. These are pretty good. So what do you, now these were like a donor. These are from like a real or a sort of a kit, right? These are Phoenix missiles?
No,
No, these are
the long ones look more like maybe they're AMRAAMs.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Or whatever the version of that was. And then there's Sidewinders. The smaller
Okay.
ones are Sidewinders.
Okay. So we've got six sidewinders mounted on pylons, correct? And then you get two.
No, those are maybe the AMRAAMs.
Yeah. Okay. These are the AMRAAMs mounted on the. Hold still there.
Pylons. You've got 6 of those.
And then 2 of the sidewinders single, and then 2 that come mounted on
dual mounts.
Yeah.
The
2
high mounts.
You have 6 in total of each variety. You know what? I think these look pretty good because I sort of expect them to be not very good, but just because they're long and skinny, and I know that's a difficult thing to cast. And you know what's interesting? Do you remember the old Hasegawa? There was a bunch of sets. One was Air Crew. One was they had the whole series of like 10 different sets of weapons. And man, oh man! So I bought up a bunch of those because I love using all the different and the pods, ECM pods and like NATO armaments and all that stuff. Those are really super rough kits, and they're from the early 80s.
Yeah.
So I think every time you buy a new one of those, the generation is such that it's further along, that each molding is a little bit more crusty. So I did end up putting together quite a few of those things, some of the pods and whatnot, and they were difficult. You really had to use a lot of glue and clamping, and you had to use putty on them and kind of do a lot of carving away of flash and whatnot. To me, these look better than that right off the hop, you know.
I think especially the AMRAAM ones are certainly completely usable. But it does bring up the point that if you wanted to, most of these, I'm gonna leave my my view here because it's all not very well focused. So I'll bring it back. All these modern fighter planes come with a ton of armament, just unbelievable amount. Used to be you get a couple things in a Hasegawa kit, and then they sell you the extra kits, and they have all these bombs and everything else. And the great thing about the Valkyries and these other planes is they were rated to carry everything. Neil Prentice, remember his Iron Valkyrie that had all those GBUs on? The pave, essentially metal, just iron bombs. You can do that. You can do the guided bombs. You can do glide bombs. You can do anything you want on that. Any of the weaponry would have been carried on this. If you want to be purist and go more toward an F-15's armament, you've got Strike Eagle capacity. This thing would have had a ton of lift. So you've got all of that. And you've probably got friends who have 72nd scale NATO fighters that have everything. I'm thinking about doing like a Dutch Tiger meat or something, or Belgian Tiger meat or something, which would look fantastic on it.
Absolutely.
And it may not have any weapons. It may just have dummy, the dummy sidewinders on it.
Okay.
Because Tiger meat would have not had those.
Right. Yeah, it was like a display only thing, right?
Or was that they're out there to show off, essentially.
Yeah. Okay.
Those planes then would go in the exercises all painted up too, or vinyl wrapped up.
Yeah. Those are beautiful schemes, and you see those pop up once in a while.
Why am I focused on me? There we go.
Yeah. So I just kind of roughly put together the 2 intake nacelles, and then there's a center portion that has an arrestor hook.
Yeah.
So that's not something you would have ever seen in the original animation. Let me try and get in the middle there. And I love it, right? That's a testament to John's kind of attention to detail, right? With making it like a real plane.
Mm-hmm.
I think my plan for this is I'm going to have it wings up.
Folded?
Wings folded, wings folded, but loaded. I don't know. Does that make sense?
I don't think there's a. Oh yeah, there are. There's hard points out on that wing fold.
Yeah.
Something or other. So yes, if they were just like the outboards, probably were just sidewinders or an ECM pod, certainly you could have those folded up.
Yeah, I would do something like that on the deck. So I'm intending to do a bit of a bigger diorama where I can put in different planes, Valkyries, and other assorted aircraft, and sub them out. So I'll have the landing gear down and some, with the wings folded. I love that. I think that's great.
You get
And
a decent little ejection seat here too.
yeah,
Cowl looks pretty good. Glass cockpit.
I believe those are from. Isn't the seat a donor from another kit?
Almost certainly, yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of neat. Gives another air of realism, right?
Yeah.
Now let's talk about the landing gear. Because I mentioned I'm gonna have mine on the deck, right?
Right.
I'm gonna pop it out because this is another area I always kind of like don't have high hopes for when it comes to landing gear from a resin mold. It's just to me, it's something that's just gonna be, wobbly and bobbly, not
Asking for trouble.
asking for trouble, not strong, right? But I know that John has embedded brass rod through these. I don't see any evidence of it, but I definitely saw pictures of them, and I think it says it.
He's done that before.
Yeah, and that's a common technique, right? Like a better resin.
Oh, yeah, you can see rod on the main gear. You can just barely see the rod.
Will popping up. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Let me see
Yep.
if you guys can see that. So just sticking out there is a little piece of brass rod. So there's your rigidity. There's your strength. This will be a workable, a doable kit part. And okay, Terry, we've been building models for a while. I've seen very expensive resin models that are complete bowls of dog turd that cost $200 or $300, and then you get that.
Absolutely.
And you cannot build it. The parts are warped, they don't fit, they're covered in flash, etc., etc.
I have seen worse for more. Or yeah.
Pile of dog barf.
Yeah, I've got stuff that I'll never build because of scrap. I've got stuff that I did simplified builds on because that's what was there.
My hat's off to you for actually making that happen. Make simplified builds on unbuildable kits. And that's a real problem because it's just one of those things. There's a lot of experience and knowledge, right, required to engineer a kit. And a lot of guys, they're inspired and they get off and do their own one-man show in their basement in their garage. But it's not the same as like a team working at a model kit company where they have like expertise. Maybe they went to school for industrial design, et cetera, right? So you get a lot of like trial and error, and there are producers that kind of rise above, and you're guaranteed to get a very good kit if you're gonna shell out for one, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with. I mean, I can look at it and go, yeah, it's gonna need some buffing. I can see where it's got some glue spots. And it's like, you know what? When I put stuff on things, I get glue spots that I have to sand off anyway. So
yeah.
And the scribing is basic. It's there. I think at this scale, it's fine.
It's 72nd.
I'll need to rescribe a little bit here and there, but that's nothing unusual.
Yeah, that's pretty common too. And you are going to get variations in in each casted piece.
That's
depending
true.
on the process that it went through. So it might not reflect exactly what was on the mash. Let's see if we can show some of the panel lining. I think the detail is good. And I think from my point of view, Terry, I really want to see symmetricality.
Yeah. And that looks pretty good. Look, I've had to rescribe present kits in the past.
Yeah.
Where I've had to fill everything and start over again. And he has definitely done his grid work. I think he's symmetric. I think he's everything lines up well.
Yeah.
I actually have to lay down with a ruler and draw it out, but it looks like he has done it the right way. And I'm not surprised that John has done it the right way.
That's key. And oh yeah, I mean, I'll tell you right, any model kit, if it comes from any producer right up, for me, it's two things. It's got to fit well, and it's got to be symmetrical to be a good proper kit, right? The rest of it you can, and this is just my opinion on this, but the rest of it you can figure out. If it's not detailed enough, you add detail.
Yep.
Or you buy an aftermarket kit to give you that. But if it's got the wrong shape, you're in trouble. And all
right.
the old-timer modelers out there, you've done all that stuff where you're trying to change the nose shape on a plane, or like a tank has the hull's too short, and then you're cutting it and adding stuff. And old Gundam models look like squat little robots, nothing at all like the line artwork. So if a manufacturer can spend some time getting the right shape and the right look, and I think John's really captured that. To me, that's aces, right? And then if it goes together and you can build it and you're not frustrated and it'll take you 2 years, that's the second half of the equation for me. So yeah, and I obviously haven't built this kit, but I've built a couple other Moscato's builds, and they did go fairly well. And then there was some tweaking. I'm thinking of the Quaidlin Rao build. It generally went well together, and he had given a bunch of options, one for open cockpit and one for just closed up. So right away he's trying to give something that has some variety to it, to give the modeler some options, but that's going to present some problems. There was a little bit of putty work needed for that, but again, something of that, it was a huge scale.
So let's wrap up here.
Sure.
He does recommend this for experienced modelers. Agreed. Yep. If you've
Agreed.
done resin conversions for models, I think you've got all the skills you need for this.
Oh yeah. I just love all the bits. So like pluses, he's giving you the full loadout, which I really like. I like the heads up. Did we even show the little heads up display acetate?
Yes.
Okay, let me get it up there.
Did that go?
Can you see that? That's really cool, because I always add those on, even in 72nd. And so he's added that. He's given you a very clear resin canopy.
Yeah, so this little plastic is a prismatic plastic.
Yeah, it's cool.
It looks like armored glass.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yep.
To make the heads up. So he's giving you yeah, very nice touch. He's giving you really nice solid castings for the landing gear. I think it would have been really nice to have a decal sheet included, especially for the first set of backers.
The second one will, and that's a compromise. That's also part of why it was a little less expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like I said, if you don't want to print your own, Gus has it. And my first batch he did for me is a little light.
Yeah.
So he now knows how to, based on a standard F-15 type ghost gray scheme.
Yeah.
He printed first was a little light. He's going to darken it down 20% and it'll go fine. Okay,
and if anyone wants to buy decals, where do they find that guy?
That's Decals. Decals on Facebook, among other places. I also got some. So Gus does tremendous work, and he will do custom stuff for you. So I got a custom set for the Grissom.
Nice.
I wanted a special registry for the Grissom.
Very cool.
I actually had him print 2 of those in case I screw it up.
Okay. There you go. Smart man.
And he does like Aztecs, things like that.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sweet. Yeah. Okay, now let's talk about the kit for a second. So if you want to get in on the last run, I think there's some left.
Yeah, 10 minutes left.
Yep. If you want to get one of these kits, it may be possible. So what you have to do is you have to reach out to John Moscato or Moscato Hobby Models on Facebook. So you give him a DM or you message him on his model company Facebook page, MoscatoHobbyModels.com, or on Facebook, not .com, on Facebook. And that's for Canada and the USA. And anywhere else in the world, his official distributor is Return to Kit Form. And that's his website is a proper .com one, right? Isn't it? Is it RT?
Yeah. It's Australian. So if you just Return to Kit Form.
Yep. You'll find him on Facebook.
Yep.
And he's the official distributor of all of Moscato's kits. And he may have a line on this. I don't know. It's pretty limited, but he's got a ton of John's other works in his.
That's right. He's also the official. He'll repop when that comes around after John's
Yeah.
done doing that. Return to kit form will handle if there is another run of any model.
Yeah, and on occasion there is, if you're
It
lucky.
takes a lot, but it does happen.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're a Macross fan, I'd say this is a must-have.
I mean,
I must have it.
I have it.
If you're only a semi Macross fan, just get yourself a 72nd Hasegawa and enjoy.
Yep.
But yeah, this is gonna be a beautiful build. I'm looking forward to it down the road.
It'll
Yeah.
look good on that carrier deck next to a VF0.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Well, thanks a lot, Terry. I think this has been a really interesting. We're going to call this a special presentation of
a
Terry's
very special presentation from
Yeah.
the Scale Model Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off. That was a lot of fun.
Great.
Kind of a
Yeah.
different thing for us, and I hope you guys get a chance to taste it. A really nice resin kit.
There we go.
Yeah, there's the box. So I'm out for Scale Model Podcast. It's Anthony.
I'm Terry Measley. We'll see you next time, everybody. There's going to be a next time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.